Welcome to Leaders of Growth, the podcast where SaaS leaders share unfiltered lessons on sales, growth, and leadership.
For me, value selling is about having a deep understanding of the prospect or the business you're talking to. What are their real pains? What are their real challenges?
At the end of the day, what I'm trying to do is to understand first their problem. Then there is no selling actually. It just happens naturally.
Jonathan Wuurman is a marketing leader with 15 plus years in SaaS, specializing in data-driven growth through personalized and composable analytics. He's the Vice President of Growth at Luzmo and previously served as Vice President of Marketing at Actito.
Is AI going to kill jobs? Yes. It will generate new jobs as well, but it will force us to evolve and to bring more value in what we do.
Welcome to Leaders of Growth. I'm Milan Savov, CEO of SmartClick, and we help B2B SaaS companies to position on top results of Google and LLMs and get high quality leads. I started this podcast because I wanted to bring you the stories, the lessons, the strategies from real leaders and people who walk the talk directly to you. So in every episode, I will sit down with founders, CMOs, people in the leadership positions to uncover what's really working in IT and SaaS these days. And today with me, I have Jonathan Wuurman from Luzmo. I met Jonathan at SaaStonak, and he had really great presentation about value-based selling, which after that we spoke a lot on that topic. So maybe that's one of the things which we will cover today. But also there is like a lot of valuable discussions which I have with John, so we can deep dive into them more in details. So welcome, John, to the podcast.
Thank you, Milan, for the invitation. Thank you for the great intro over here.
I'm glad that you accepted the invitation. I introduced you, but probably it would be better if you do that. Will be a lot better than me introducing you. So take your time to do that.
Okay, sure. Jonathan, like you said, 43, living in Belgium, got a lovely wife for 22 years now, a boy of 15 which loves football. Ended up in SaaS nearly 20 years ago. Fell totally in love with what was called at that time the no-code. So my background is more sales and marketing, I would say. And I was playing a little bit with the iMovie, trying to make websites with iWeb and those kind of things. And I like to define myself as an entrepreneur rather than an entrepreneur like you, Milan. So basically my job is to spend your money and that we both become successful. That's more or less my mission. Just joking, but that's how I like to act, as being very deeply involved in the company mission and goals, and definitely playing a bit the client advocate internally, but always with a very product-driven approach on things. And like you said, we had the chance to meet at SaaStonak, and that's what I love the most about my job, is meeting a lot of people, trying to connect the people, because you can learn so much things from the others. I would say my mom was always telling me that at the end, it's difficult to learn a job. Most of the time you're stealing a job from the ones that are very good at it. And I think that's what you try to do with this podcast. And maybe as a last sentence, I love to say that the job of marketing is to make sales easy.
That's really the thing. And maybe it would be nice just to start with that, because we discussed a lot and you had that presentation with value-based selling. So maybe you can give a bit of introduction. What does it mean for you, like value-based selling?
I think most of the time it's pretty easier to explain things when you try to put them in a position of something. And so I think if you take value selling, first of all, there is a lot of buzzwords. So I will try to pay attention not to use too much of those. And I think value is one of those super buzzwords out there that basically rhymes like, I can sell much higher tickets because I'm doing value selling. I think first of all, it's a mindset in opposition of a feature throwing. So, and definitely in the world of technology today, we will come with capabilities and we're strong and faster and this and this. At the end of the day, it's pretty mechanical, if you take that approach. I think value selling in my opinion, it's really a personal opinion, and I love people or you to challenge me on
Yeah,
that.
yeah, yeah.
That's how I think we should do it. For me, value selling is about having a deep understanding of the prospect or the business you're talking to. What are their real pains? What are their real challenges? Where are they bumping against things? And the funny thing with, if you approach things as a value seller, you
Mm-hmm.
can also unveil things that themselves are not aware of. And I think that is where all that shaping is taking versus a feature selling where they say, I have a problem I don't know, my query engine is too slow. Oh, let's build that kind of technology that speed up processes. Value selling would go much broader from, okay,
Yeah,
but
yeah,
for
yeah.
which reason? What do you try to achieve? Which type of support do you need from a human perspective, from a technical perspective? So for me, value selling is going beyond, I would say, the obvious about, oh, you're hurt, let's put something, a stick on it, and it's fixed. No, it's about how do we make you successful. And so I was trained in my previous company, not with, and I will use a buzzword or those lovely anagrams that we love in marketing, which CAC, customer
Yeah.
acquisition. I've never been really trained around that one.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
Pretty funny because we were bootstrap, but I was trained on three other letters, which was LTV, that stands for long time value. And I think if you are in that mindset to say, I'm not here to sell a short-term project or to get them on a subscription for your SaaS, but rather having that vision on 1 year, 2 years, 3 years, and
Yeah,
maybe
yeah,
more, then your mindset change because your pressure is not the same. What you
yeah.
try to deliver is much better. I love to say 1st January, everybody feels the Christmas and they feel a bit the belly. So what do they do on the 1st? They will take a subscription to the gym. That's not getting your belly off. It's the efforts that you will put in there that will make you like getting your shape back. And I think value selling is really about that. It's not about just taking a subscription. It's about what does that entail totally? What's the dedication? How will you put your team in that kind of loop? Or you going to be honest as well when you buy? Because I think sometimes we have a tendency to lie to ourselves, to convince ourselves about
Mm.
things as well. And that's where I see value selling as, I think it's more a mindset than an approach like a medic or whatever sales tactics that exist. So for me, it's much more about a mindset than a tactical play, if I can say it that way. I
Yeah.
don't know if that makes sense for you, Milan.
Yeah, yeah, that's on point. What I'm seeing usually in our cases, for example, people are coming and just asking, send me a proposal. So if I just send it, it's no matter the price, what it is or whatever it is inside it, it doesn't matter. At the end of the day, what I'm trying to do is to understand first their problem. Is it the real problem? Because usually it isn't. When you start discussing and asking them, the main problem is not the problem. And then once you know all the scoping, everything, you can see, do you actually can help them solve that problem and how long it could take, how much the investment could be. So this is like a thing which I think people should try to not to do, because asking just a proposal will not solve anything. You will just be more confused in that. And
Yeah, I agree with you.
second thing which I can add here, when we are in value based, besides the mindset, I think it's more about the relationships which we try to create. As you said, if you understand the prospect, their real pains, their real desires, and you connect with them, so you can understand even deeper after that, and just try to discuss and learn more. And then if you can see that, okay, this is the time where I can help, then there is no selling actually. It just happens naturally.
I think you use something which rings in my brain when you were saying it. I think value selling is about being truly helpful,
Yeah, yeah,
not just pushing something and ticking a box, but being truly helpful.
yeah,
I
yeah,
think that's the way I will express value selling as now, being truly helpful. And I think you're right. I come from a world where we went to enterprise, and then you have that buying cycle from RFI, request for proposal, RFP, sorry, information and all that stuff. And most of the
yeah,
time, if
yeah,
you can go through all the process, at the end, you have that demonstration moment, where they had those demonstrate that you can do use case one, demonstrate that
yeah,
you can do
yeah,
use case two. Let's
exactly.
face it, that's the biggest BS that exists on earth. And I have a little story that I can share here.
Yeah,
One of the
sure.
biggest payment players worldwide,
Yeah.
they approached us, and we went in the entire process from information to proposal to the demonstration. Let's face it, when you know what you need to demonstrate,
Mm.
you can be a magician because you know and you can trick it. Let's face it, you know very well technology.
Yeah.
So we can like make things look amazing, and with the worst infrastructure behind even not working. A prototype could look as real, but it's not real. And so we were demonstrating the cases, and I was like the evangelist at that time in the
Yeah.
company, and really demonstrated. But I saw two ladies, chit
Mm.
chatting, and I said, there is something wrong over here, So I stop and I say, ladies, seems that or this doesn't make sense, or it doesn't interesting, although they were the end user, in my opinion, from what I understood. And they say, no, that is great what you do, and definitely we will need to go there. Keep that, we will
Mm.
need to go there. I say, oh, but it seems that you have another problem then.
Mm.
Yeah, today my problem is much simpler than this. So, it's also about that ladder that they will need to go up to success. And so the cases were the things that they would be ready probably in 6 months time. But then I asked them, what's your real problem? I need to send a campaign tomorrow and my data is crappy.
Yeah.
So I said, you know what, stop. Do we agree that those use cases are useless for you today because it doesn't solve your problem for tomorrow? She said, yes. You know what, can you give me the set of data that you're struggling with today? Yes, I have it on my computer. Let's do a use case on this. That's how we sold, and we win one of the biggest clients at that moment. And I think that is, again, when we talk about value, they were convinced that that's where they wanted to go, but they didn't make the work about what are the steps to go towards.
Yeah, like there is a gap in between, so they don't fill the gap in their mind. Still,
mate, I take my resolution for the fitness for the gym on the 1st of January. I want an 8-pack. The thing is, when you want the 8-pack, I will need to train 6 months, 4 times a week to get there. But if you say that's what I'm looking at, but that you're not aware of the steps that it takes, it doesn't make sense again.
Exactly. I just want to add one more thing based on this discussion. When we spoke at SaaS Talk about this same topic, you inspired me to create like a group where we actually are meeting each week. So I was thinking
your group, and
what I can do. Yeah, just to give more context, I was thinking what I can do to our existing customers, to people who I know, just add them more value, and maybe you just give me another signal that this is the thing. I was thinking a bit before, but we're just in dilemma. Should I do that? Or maybe people don't like it. But then I found that when we are on the calls, there is like great energy. People are sharing stories. They're connecting each other. Even there is some potential in cooperation, so they can network by themselves. And I think it's like additional value out of everything besides the service, which separately is like a valuable.
Yeah, but I think 100%, and I love to jump the Thursday in our sharing, because you mix people, and again, I think the beauty of the world is in the difference. I know that some people try to make war with that. I would say we should embrace it. I'm in Belgium. 11 million people, 3 languages, 3 government. Yeah, they can make fights every day just about that, instead of embracing it as something which is very valuable. All those kids in my country should speak 3 languages by the age of 18. Just that openness and that mindset is gold. Now, the politics love to make with that instead of embracing it. And I think that's what I like about that group, is you will have different perspective that help you challenge yourself, and the beauty is in the exchange. Let's face it. It's in the mingling of things that you see amazing things happening, in my opinion, as well. So I love your group. Big shout out to that.
That's great. Do you have any idea how, for example, other SaaS businesses can apply this into their business model, just to help them give more value to others?
Yeah, I think that what I'm experimenting since a couple of years, and I think with the rise of AI, and we will have time to talk about that. I do believe that authenticity and trust are main drivers, or like the key ingredients behind probably value selling. And something that we did when we were reaching out to France, instead of us pitching, selling in the good or the bad way, I would say.
Yeah.
We were taking a sheet and we say, those are our 22 clients in France. Who do you want to talk to? And we would not put any filter in there and just put them in. And I think that is, in my opinion, a best way of selling. We should, everybody loves reviews. You don't buy anything on Amazon without reading a
Like
review.
you're
Although
going
you know that.
you're going
Go
to
ahead.
these potential customers with the list of your current customers and give them to just have
I
a
could
call
even
and-
give them access to my CRM, and I say, here is a login to my CRM. To who do you want to talk? Let's make this happen.
I love this
Because
so
then
much.
I'm not doing this selling. Of course, you take risk, but if you know what you
Yeah.
do and how you do it,
You're
you should embrace
transparent.
that.
Yeah.
So transparency,
Yeah.
trust, authenticity. I think
Yeah.
that's what people need to get back
Mm.
to. I use AI every day, probably just like a lot of the
Yeah.
audience that listening over here. And I love it. Let's face it, it's amazing. I can do more in less of time, better quality, blah, blah. But at the end, this is what I love the most
Yeah.
about what
Yeah.
I'm doing.
Human.
That human conversation that we're having. And that's why I love even more field marketing, because then we have that physical contact that we can have. Although we are here on a camera, it's even different when you are in another setting. And I think that's what I would give as advice to people is don't try to shield your client from your prospect, make it a community.
Yeah.
And that's a movement we're trying at Luzmo now. And you saw I'm trying to hire a community lead.
Yeah.
Because I have a strong belief that people love to help
Mm.
people.
Yeah.
And that it shouldn't always us being like helping. You help me and we don't have any business relation if we are honest. And I try to bring value to you and and I think that is what I would love to embrace even more.
Yeah. That's great. You're speaking a lot about growth strategies. So can you just share some experience maybe with previous company or with this one, whatever it is? What worked best by now for you when it comes to your position helping in the company's growth?
If I'm honest, I'm not sure that I know what works well or better today. I think, and when you ask me that question, I'm still struggling in the fact that you see that there are a lot. I know you don't see them, but there are a lot of business books. I think we can take all that stuff and throw it out because of AI today. It has flipped. We had like predictable revenue. We have the amazing content from April Dunford about positioning and all those things are there. And I'm not saying that we should throw that away, even if I said it. Those are like a layer of foundation to prepare your brain. But I don't believe that there is a playbook today that you can build on. I think we're really writing new playbooks because of that shift. Let's face it, probably that AI is an even as big shift, maybe being even bigger than when the internet arrived. And you're not 20, I'm not 20 either. We knew the world before internet and after internet. You take our son of 15, he knows the world with internet. I think AI will be the same game changer that what the internet was at that time. So I don't believe that there is a playbook that I can say, hey guys, pick that one and scale out of it like you could do with predictable revenue or other amazing.
Yeah, fair enough.
So my take on what I see as important today is bringing back the human in the game. It's building around authenticity, exchange, sharing. So
maybe it will double down to community, to events, visiting one-on-one person meetings. Again,
I think the way that we were selling on Hangouts and Zooms, it was amazing during the pandemic. And let's face it, in my previous company, we made a lot of money thanks of COVID because people couldn't do it in another way. But I think we will get back to some basic stories. My grandfather had a bookshop where it's selling cigarettes and newspapers and everything. You know what was amazing about that? And I was a really young kid. I was entering that store and he could say, hey, Milan, here is your newspaper. Those are your cigarettes. He knew everything about probably 80% of the people. What is our knowledge from our prospects and clients today in a world where we have access to massively more information than what he had, but he knew deeply those people and he could even look at them and say, you didn't have a good night yesterday, because he knew those people. So I think that is where I see the new playbook. It's people will of course embrace LLMs and you will be faster at identifying the good agencies, the good technologies, but to make the good choice, you will need to talk to the human.
But we're getting back to something which you mentioned before, that you have to know your customers better, your pains, their desires. So probably your grandfather knows everything about them, and there is that relation.
Exactly.
Yeah.
He
So it's
was
the
like
same. Here is
how
the
do you say that?
playbook.
He was the doctor of those people, the mental doctor,
Yeah.
because you had people expressing their entire life, and you can imagine at that time you still had the gambling and the lottery and the addictions, and he was like just crutching it. Don't
Yeah.
tell my
Yeah.
wife about it, and those things you have them, and I think we should be aware of that in business. And technology, it gives you, I can use a lot
Yeah.
of
Yeah.
buzzwords: signals, intent data, predictability, just call it.
Yeah.
But you even
Yeah.
don't know what he likes to eat if you invite him for lunch.
Yeah. Yeah.
Ah.
That's great. That's great. I read on your LinkedIn profile where you're saying that the biggest challenge you solve is like bridging the gap between sales, marketing, product, and customer success. Can you tell us more about that? How you do that? What's the biggest benefit out of that? I think this is like a real challenge in a lot of companies, not only SaaS, but in also in the agencies, where you have to bridge the teams together, the product and sales together.
My wife worked for one of the biggest bank on earth, and they have the same problem. It's going, I think,
Yeah.
from a early stage startup up to the biggest corporate companies that you can imagine. I think that word, which is pretty used, by business units or silos, not
Mhm.
communicating, not being aligned, is just a fact.
Yeah.
You cannot say it doesn't exist. It's a fact. And in every company that I went or that I know, it's part of
What's
the
like the
problems that they try to achieve.
what's like the main thing where you actually, that there is not non-alignment in this sector. So what's the first thing which you have to do to actually see where that gap is happening, how to approach that, and what should be the first steps?
It's a personal call on this. It's not linked to Luzmo, I will be honest.
Yeah.
Luzmo has what we call QBRs, OKRs, sorry, so objective and key results from the Google world, very engineering led. And I think there is a piece of probably the answer in this,
Mhm.
but I think is we should ask ourselves as leaders or founders of a
Mhm.
company, what will make my employee waking up in the morning and willing to double down on something? And I think it boils down to, what is our mission? What is the big ambitious goal or company is trying to achieve? And I think that's they call it the North Star metric for some, but I think that is what, for example, I wake up every morning, try my best to help Luzmo because I want to make it a 10 million company.
Mhm. Mhm.
And I drive my entire team by not the OKR to getting 1.5% or less than 1.5% churn month on month, or to sign this. Those are tactical. For me, everything we do should be built towards that vision of building a 10 million company.
And why is that important for you? How did you came to that goal, so you can then share to the team, and does after that the alignment is happening like more properly?
Question. I worked nearly 16 years in my previous company.
Mhm.
And when you were saying, I was seeing those silos because instead of jumping from company of company like every normal person
Mhm.
does, 2-3 years experience, and then you're bouncing. For me, it was 2-3 years, change business unit, change business unit, change business unit, take up a new challenge, take up a new challenge. So I did sales, product, CS, did product marketing and then marketing. I was a sales manager
Everything.
during those periods. So I touched everything. I'm always saying I didn't touch two things. I never coded the platform, so we had a decent product, I would say, and I never touched the finance so that I could spend money. Those are the two jobs I didn't do in my previous company, which is, I think, more than enough, and I would be really bad at it.
Yeah.
But so that is where I saw those challenges, around those silos and those 10 million. It's something very easy for people to understand wherever you are in your own journey. But what I noticed at Actito, we were 500K, I think, ARR. And we
Mhm.
end up, when I left, at 17 million. I think there is a journey from 0 to 500, from 500 to a million, from a million to 5 million, from 5 to 10, and then above 10. I know that everything above 10, I'm shit at it. I'm really shit at it. because then you start the politics, the M&As, merge and acquisitions, and those kind of things are really not what make me willing to wake up and double down in the morning. But product market fit, getting my user super powerful user of my platform, crafting events with them. That is where I see myself having a lot of energy, you see? And so I think that's easy then for people to understand, and you can easily share that. If you share as an objective or a mission of your company just to achieve a certain amount of money in revenue, like for example, I will be honest, one of our OKRs, it's basically the yearly target that we need to achieve. But what once we are there? Why should they wake up the 1st of January if we reach that? You will just increase it by 20% because that's what our founders are expecting. That, you're missing a bit that lovely thing. It's like, if I'm an athlete, I want to go for the Olympics. That's why you wake up. That's why you work hard.
Big why for everyone involved in that goal.
Of course, because it's always everyone, from the finance guy, because you have some customers not paying the bills. You know it as an agency. What's your open bill account? Probably thousands of euros. If that guy is not chasing the money, you don't get your paycheck at the end of the month. So of course it's a company, and I think that is why I like All Hands. I think All Hands, it's a way to always re-energize everybody, but also sometimes to say, hey, red light, orange light, watch out here, watch out there. What can we now do together to, again, keep that motion? I think motion is a really important word in the actual world. It's, you need to always evolve. It can be a bit exhausting, but you choose to be in SaaS and in growth. So that's part of the journey. If you stop doing that, you're probably up.
Yeah. So just to sum up about all of this, you're saying that to bridge that gap between the teams is better, so they know the biggest mission of the company and maybe each of the sectors. So probably you're setting like A players in each of these sectors so they can push the vision to the bottom, and then just give them like a freedom to do their best in their positions.
I think the worst thing or at least something that I try to avoid myself doing, is micromanagement.
I'm hearing this a lot.
Yeah. The funny thing is, one of, there are those leaders that help you on a daily basis. Like, I reach out to you on specific topic where I know your expertise is there. If you think, one of the leaders that I chose was Steve Jobs, because I'm by heart a CMO, or at least that's how I try to, or at least my vision is I want to become a CMO. And I think that Steve Jobs was a CMO, if you ask me. Benioff from Salesforce is not a CEO for me, it's a CMO. Those are those people that go on stage and that can ramp up that energy in people. And from the developer to the back end, to the front end, to the sales, to the office manager, they feel like, whoa, empowered by that, and they buy it, they go in. They even don't buy it, they just go in. That's, in my opinion, what we try to achieve.
Yeah. So I think this is also a leadership skills, which they're probably developed through the years.
I think people fight for people and not for revenue or reviews or everything. I would go to, even today, but in my previous company, I did stuff that I was totally convinced I was unable to do, but because I had enough trust in my own leaders, I was ready to take the risk and to go in what we could consider as a fire. I was happy to work within the fire, and at the end, you grow so much by doing this.
Yeah, that's great. So you said at the very beginning of this call that we will just touch the AI, the LLMs. What are your opinions in this direction? Not say how companies should focus. I think everyone is focusing on that, but probably it will be commoditized in couple of years. But what should be their approach in using AI into the operations, into the processes?
It's a good question, and I'm not sure about the answer, which is the right answer to it. I will give you an opinion again.
Yeah, opinion.
That's what I like.
There is no facts in this.
No, I think you cannot not embrace change. I will repeat myself. You cannot not embrace change, because I think that is like refusing evolution. It's impossible. This is definitely impossible. Henry Ford, when he was building the supply chain, everybody was complaining and killing, and that it would like put people starving because of. Let's be factual. It
Yeah,
was a
yeah,
necessity to be where we are today. Is AI going to kill jobs? Yes. And I say it
yeah,
again,
yeah.
yes.
And we're seeing
But
that.
it will force us to evolve and to bring more value in what we do. It will generate new jobs as well, or it will give opportunities that were totally impossible today. I just think that today we are not capable to identify and to visualize those opportunities that will be there. The same as probably if we go back to Henry Ford, that those people had at that moment. And that's what we call evolution. That's agile, that's all
Yeah,
those
yeah,
things that made us what we are. So for me, the first call that I would say, embrace it as much as you can. Give time to your people to experiment, to learn about it, to break stuff, but see it as an empower, as something empowering you instead of replacing you.
yeah, yeah,
Like I said, people will trust more and more the people, but if you're more knowledgeable, they will even trust you more. So AI is capable to do things in the background when you are focusing on high value added tasks, and will do some shitty job for you, but that is a necessity to get you
yeah,
better.
yeah.
So I think that is where probably
The
the
balance.
lines are with AI, you know? Now, of course, everybody is putting themselves as AI first agency, or we are an AI first product. I am GTM AI expert, blah, blah,
Yeah,
blah.
yeah, yeah,
Bullshit, bullshit, bullshit. Nobody knows yet. Even the guys that build OpenAI, they don't really know where to go. You know, if they have some kind of vision, and it's a revolution. And revolutions goes also need time for adoption. And you know, there is that curve of chasm.
yeah, yeah,
Uh,
yeah.
it was funny. I was working in the CRM, and everybody was always talking about personalization, personalization,
Mm.
personalization. And at the end of the day, what did they do? Hello, Milan, buy this.
We met on
So
Sastanak.
no, even not, man. Come on, that would be too
Yeah,
personalization level within the campaign. You're nuts, man. It would just be hello, first name, buy my shit.
yeah. Get a lot of
And it
creative.
took 10 years to educate the market about what is personalization. It's the moment, it's the time, it's the offering, it's the knowledge. And I think that is where AI is making this now
Yeah, the
much
confusion.
more accessible, actionable than it was before. You know, in marketing, the right product, right place, right message, right channel, all those things, we preach them for, I don't know, 30 years probably. Some of us were pretty good at it, but most
Yeah,
of us were still really bad at
yeah.
it.
I think people just try to make things happen faster than they are actually patient to wait for them.
Yeah,
So this is
100%.
this is why they're trying to leverage these AI things, the personalization and everything to outreach more people just without any human touch inside. What we're trying in that case is just to speed up some of the processes, some of the documentation, for example, to improve them. But I'm always like a fan to stay like a human with people and make that connection if possible, for example, because at the end I think we're all humans, so we just should continue to relate.
To be humans, of course.
Yeah.
Of course. You know, I think it's so crazy, yeah, but for me, it was marketing automation. And I was always saying, you
Mm.
know, you can automate great things, but most of the time, you will be automating shitty things because you didn't do the work to operate them. I will take a simple example. I don't know for you, but for me, I'm getting shitload of outreach emails today, more than ever, because
Yeah.
AI find my email, AI find my mobile phone, AI find my LinkedIn profile, craft some things around some kind of value proposition, and pa 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 pa. You know, the spammers, they're living the best time ever because they can be lazy and high volume spamming. And I can blame myself. I'm organizing an event in Paris in September. I did an outreach on 24 people. I had 6 profiles that were not up to date. Imagine that I would shoot that on the 600 people I have in mind that I need to reach. If already out that little batch I had sits, which is more or less 30%,
Yeah,
I
yeah,
would do 70% good for 30% really shit. Doesn't make any sense anymore in the
yeah,
end to always.
yeah,
And that is what I'm trying to express with automating or AI. Those are tools.
yeah, yeah.
I will take a very bad analogy and pass on him, pray for him. You know what happened with that soccer player with the Lamborghini, which died in the
Yeah,
UK? You
yeah,
know,
yeah,
it's a very aggressive car with a lot of power, and he used it in a bad way, in a bad environment,
yeah, yeah,
leading to
yeah,
what happened.
yeah.
You know, technology can do exactly the same. And I'm not blaming the guy or the car manufacturer. It's facts.
Just be
We
aware
can
how
do
you use.
amazing things with technology, or we can do very bad things with technology. At the end of the day, we are in control, we the
Yeah,
human,
yeah, yeah.
and we should be critic and talkful about what we do. And sometimes it's easy to forget about it, and I can blame myself for doing bad things as well sometimes, just because there's some pressure of the results and getting quickly something done, and you try to take shortcuts. Most of the time when you take a shortcut,
There will
there
be
is
mistakes. Yeah, yeah,
there are mistakes, there is like bad impact on things.
yeah.
It's part of the
The,
game.
the
So I
point
think
is
that is
just
where we need to.
yeah. The point is just to learn from these mistakes, make reflections, so we can be better when using it again and again.
One of the tips that I can give that I hate the word management, to be honest. I rather prefer defining myself as a captain of the team,
Mm,
which is definitely not the best player, but getting the best out of the team. That's how I want to play, at least. And I love to say to my team, ask me forgiveness for trying something, but not for not doing anything.
mm.
That's the best advice I can give to all the managers out there. If you want your team to hyper perform, that's the best thing you can give them is that sentence. Ask me forgiveness for doing something, even if you broke it, fucked it up,
That
whatever,
that's a great
instead
point.
of saying you didn't do anything. And we all make mistakes.
Yeah, yeah,
Again, I will take the analogy from my previous job. It happened to all of us to send an email with hello first name where you didn't match that damn variable
yeah,
with your CRM and you're sending hello first name to 100 prospects.
yeah,
It happened to all of us. You didn't kill anybody. I didn't invent the COVID vaccine,
yeah,
We are sending stupid marketing emails, guys. So
yeah,
ask me
yeah,
for forgiveness for trying something, but not for not trying, because
yeah,
that's
yeah.
not acceptable in
That's
my
great
opinion.
advice.
And I have a kid which play football, and that is what you try to train kids from their smaller age. And I train small kids, and I say, dare to try. Our job as
Yeah,
a
yeah.
coach with small kids, it's to give them the confidence enough in them to dare to try. And of course, you have those kids that have a natural talent, the future Messi. They're like flip-flopping the ball. And even myself, I look at them and say, damn, that kid is good. And you have that other a bit clunky kid that doesn't dare because he see the other one. Our job as a
They're
coach is to
comparing.
push on
Yeah,
him. And you know what happened most of the time? And I can tell you now because my boy is 15. Out of probably 200 players that he has evolved with all his classes,
yeah, yeah.
you know how much left when they are 15?
A lot.
10. All the other ones dropped out. And probably kids that had much more natural talent than what he had. But he was putting the effort. He did try. He was learning out of it. It
Yeah,
did
yeah,
fall. It did cry. It did laugh. All that is part of becoming something
yeah.
for
Again,
someone.
the patience in what you do. Great.
Putting the work, putting the work, putting the
We
work.
had great discussion by now. So before wrapping this episode, can you tell us more about Luzmo and how Luzmo actually help others,
Yeah,
other
sure.
companies?
So at Luzmo, we really try to help mainly SaaS industries, or at least every company that has some kind of data that they need to put in front of their end clients. So what we call today, and I will try to avoid any buzzword, but is client-facing analytics.
Mhm.
That is really what we try to do by embed deeply within the applications of our clients so that they don't have to take all the pain, I would say, to
Mhm.
optimize databases, linking it to their app and being really integrated. Most of the time, you will never notice that Luzmo is within an app because we put
Mhm.
ourselves on composable and personalization. So
Mhm.
composable, because it's a bit of buzzword, is being able to take pieces of my product so that it help you be faster on your legs and to give sense to the data. And the next move of this, where we're trying to push now, it's how can we help those organizations also monetize that data? And the easiest example I have is Strava, the running app.
Yeah.
You have it for free. You have already some kind of dashboards in there that show you how many times that you went out. And if you pay, I don't know, $10 a month, then you can start having like your interval or your heartbeat, and it will put comparison with other, and you can start yourself manipulating that data. That is really the most extended clients. They go up to there. They would give basically access to the end client to dashboards that they can tweak to identify things to improve themselves. And that's really what we try to do by getting rid of all the back end and the complexity of querying, filtering, personalization. That's our job. The heavy lifting is out so that you focus on the end user experience.
That's great. Do you think there is like anything else which is important and maybe we missed out during the conversation and you want to share it?
I would say that there is one thing that I always try to keep with me. Although I'm 43, I would say try to be always curious. I think curiosity when we are a kid is like, not really good. You're too curious. You know what we say to kids, and you have young kids as well. I think we should embrace that because I think what I see with that young generation, everything seems to be normal. And I think we should increase their willingness to be curious, because curiosity is bringing you potentially an advantage edge. We were saying about embracing AI. I still know people that say, I don't want to hear about it because they are not curious about what it can deliver. So I think curiosity would be probably something. And make sure to subscribe to Milan. Would be the second call to action for sure.
Yeah, I think this is really important, like keeping the kids inside us. So when we were kids, we were all curious. And after that, as we grow, we become just less curious. But again,
100%.
if we miss that,
there is so much to learn by, I tell you, that's why I started training with small kids at the football. Just seeing that you're learning and you say, man, damn, I could use all those tactics, and vice versa. I train the kids in the same way. We were talking about North Star metrics. With them. I try to put those kind of goals in their own brain. I want you to be able to achieve this. Then they have a target. I used to train kids from 9 is juggling. Juggling is really a very important skill in football. So I said at the end of the season, all of you need to be able to do at least 10 juggling. All my kids last year were at 20 minimum. Because they were putting the effort on top of it. And we find cool ways,
you give them confidence that they can do that. You know what's really interesting? When I started like setting up goals for companies, for myself, there was like a comparison how kids actually set up goals. So your son can tell you, I want blue bike for my birthday. So there is exactly what he wants at what date and so on. And there is like that bike in some shop. And we're complicating things as we grown up. So it's good to remind ourselves that as a kids, we are more curious, and probably we did some things better than we are now complicating a lot of things about it.
Because complexity is easier than simplicity. Definitely. It's a very good tip for AI, by the way. Explain it for a kid of 6. You should always use that in your prompt. The quality of the output. So to everybody that listened to this, if there are some good things, but maybe things that you say, nah, that doesn't make any sense, feel free to reach out. LinkedIn is probably where I live the most with DMs, or try to join the community that Milan has on the Thursday, which is amazing. And other than that, I would say it was a great time to spend that with you, Milan, and looking forward to our next physical meeting as well, so that we can enjoy some more in-depth conversations. And I hope it was useful for your community as well.
We will meet definitely in Amsterdam in a month. And I will leave your details below this video. Thank you again for being a guest today. And that's it for this episode of Leaders of Growth. Big thank you for Jonathan for sharing everything valuable today. As I said, we'll leave his contact in the description. So if you enjoyed, just follow the podcast so you don't miss any future conversation. There will be a lot of SaaS and IT leaders. So this podcast is powered by SmartClick, your growth partner for B2B SaaS companies looking to scale their organic leads. I'm your host, Milan Savov. So until next time, keep leading, keep scaling, keep growing. See ya.